On July 4th, 2025, our glorious King Eclipse uploaded a pseudo-review on the hit game Tower Defense X. This video was highly requested by his fanbase ever since he released a review on Tower Defense Simulator, where he had a more or less very positive experience. Keep in mind that Eclipse famously does not like tower defense games, so the fact that he actually was pretty positive towards Tower Defense Simulator was a pretty good sign. Well, the video came out and, well, yeah, I think you can imagine how he felt. Eclipse's review of TDX is honestly awful. Throughout the video, he possesses a complete lack of understanding as to what he's doing, and saying things that would make anyone who played the tutorial chuckle at their stupidity, of which he certainly did not play.
If I can just put something down, walk away for 5 minutes, come back and, oh, my upgrade's ready to buy because I've got enough money, oh, thank God. If I can just put something down, walk away for 5 minutes,
put something down, walk away for 5 minutes.
Be like, well, Eclipse, at higher difficulties, you can't do that. You can't just walk away. You need to constantly micromanage X, Y, Z, and the other. And I would say to that, first of all, no you don't in half of these games. And second of all, if it takes me 12 hours to get to the point where I have enough stuff in order to even play those game modes, then it doesn't matter.
But as much as I wanted to poke fun at the guy who considered the pre-rework Molten boss an intense boss battle, his video did expose one massive flaw with the game. One that many smaller TDX content creators have recently been picking up on. This game's introduction is awful. Like seriously, it is not great. There are many videos out there that talk about this issue overall in more detail, such as those created by Ghost LD, Tickley Ryzen, and Krista Bro, all of whom have made incredible videos that I will be linking down below for you to check out. Please check them out and please subscribe to them. They deserve a lot more subs and a lot more views than they've gotten. Despite all having slightly different takes on the issue, I think that they, and myself, and many others in the TDX community all have the same opinion on the first two modes of this game. They are bad. The gameplay complexity difference between the first two modes and every other mode in the game is just far too great for the devs to just ignore. So in this video, I want to go over why these two modes are so bad and why they need to be fixed, as well as how I would like to see them fixed. This video is going to be a rather long one and split into two parts. The first part I will be tearing them down, and in the second one we will be trying to build them back up. So without further ado, please be sure to like the video and subscribe, and let's jump into it. Part 1. Why they suck. Easy mode is mainly so outdated because it is trying to act as a tutorial for a game that now already has a dedicated tutorial. Back when TDX first released, it had a very different set of priorities and a very different audience. John Roblox's goal was to convert his TDS audience to his own game, and TDS fans don't necessarily need to be taught how to play a tower defense game again. They just need to learn how to play TDX. So, easy mode was the perfect solution. It was a simple mode with familiar mechanics to the game that they migrated from, which allowed them to more easily transition into the more bait-focused gameplay of the other modes. However, in 2025, the focus of the game has moved away from what it was initially. The game is now about managing tower health, building loadouts around resistances, and dealing with enemy gimmicks. This is something that the tutorial teaches quite well, yet easy mode simply doesn't teach at all. Easy sets a precedent that your towers won't ever be in harm's way, which runs counter to what the tutorial tells you. Tower death is one of the selling points of this game. It's what makes TDX a more active tower defense game than most others on the platform. But to hide it away until the end of intermediate mode is just very counterproductive, because all the player is going to take away from easy is, oh, this is just another boring tower defense game. Especially if they're like Eclipse and skip the tutorial.
Walk away for 5 minutes.
And that's just the issue with easy. Let's move on to the problems with intermediate mode. In my eyes, intermediate has three major issues. The first one being that it is just as boring as easy up until wave 29, when the Predator comes out. Saving the death mechanic only for the mini-boss is, once again, fine when the game first came out, but now, with how prevalent the mechanic is in the game, it is absolutely important to have some normal enemies with attacks and gimmicks. Once again, someone playing this game for the first time is going to see easy with no tower damage, then intermediate with no tower damage until wave 29, and it's just going to reinforce that this game has nothing special to offer. The second issue is the fact that this mode almost exclusively punishes the bullet type damage, when I think it should be more equally challenging to bullet and explosive. Missile troopers only have infiltrators to deal with, while bullet type towers have a bunch of big enemies with resistances against it. My third and final issue with Intermediate mode is how bland and boring the enemy designs are. Intermediate's theme is supposed to be zombies augmented with robotics, but that already exists and is done much better in Expert mode. I feel like Intermediate mode would stand out a lot better if it was given its own unique enemy theme, especially since so many of these enemies kind of blend together and have really stiff and awkward animations, even compared to Easy mode, which is pretty weird to see in a game like TDX. Some other miscellaneous issues is that there's a lack of music and there's a lack of lore. Music really adds to the atmosphere and tone of a mode. I mean, if you played TDS Fallen mode or Elite mode in this game, you would know just how absolutely hard these ambient tracks can go, as well as how hard they can go on selling you the theme of a mode. Fallen really makes it feel like you're discovering something unknown, and as the waves ramp up, the music gets more intense, signifying how crazy things are getting. Meanwhile, Elite mode, no matter the map that you are on, the music really sets in that, hey, this is a medieval theme, these enemies are ancient, and it just really sets that tone really well. So going from the tutorial with good music, and then going to easy and intermediate without music just feels really odd. And it also makes them seem like they lack a theme. The lack of lore also hurts here. Whether you like it or not, one of TDX's main selling points is the lore and story. Due to Elite mode not really dwelling on much of anything, this leaves the player not finding out anything lore related directly until Expert mode. If they are playing the game as intended at least, which is really odd in my opinion. I don't think we need to be jumping out the gate with lore reveals, but I think Intermediate mode should at the very least impart some story information to the player, considering that is the first time that they see an Eradicator, for example. Now, forgetting about the modes, there's a few other issues that I have with the early game experience of TDX. Progression is one of them. It's not only just annoying early on, but it's just kind of bad. Not because of gold. Gold is pretty easy to get. It's XP. The XP grind in this game is abysmal. I don't like how it has continued to remain sluggishly slow, while every other form of progression has gotten so much better. The XP rates are so bad early on because of how stingy the modes can be with them, and this problem just continues even into the late game. One final thing to note is that TDX's UI is also very unintuitive for a new player to grasp. For some reason, the achievements don't glow anymore and are hidden in this top corner of the screen, which I find really stupid. Not to mention, it's kind of clunky how you set up your matches. Like, if you just want to play by yourself, it's kind of weird trying to figure out how to do that. Part 2. How to fix them. Whew! Man, that is a lot of problems. So the question remains, how do we go about fixing them? Well, fortunately, I have quite a few ideas on how to go about fixing every single problem I listed above. Let's go in order from the smallest to biggest fixes. This section isn't just about reworking easy and intermediate mode, it's about making the entire new player experience better for players and more interesting. Starting off with the small stuff, after the tutorial mode, the player should be given a second, brief lobby tutorial, explaining what each of the buttons do with arrows pointing to each one, just so that you are made aware. There should also be a notification every time you get an achievement, so that players know exactly when they've gotten one. I really like Chris the Bro's slow burn mission system that he came up with in his video, which you should totally check out by the way, and I think it would be a cool way to award some event towers like Commander and Flame Trooper that should be evergreen. The game could direct you to the mission immediately after the UI tutorial. The missions could be accessed under a second tab in the quests menu. We could have the Commander one available from the start, while the Flame Trooper quest could be locked behind beating Wave 80 in Endless mode, giving the player a long-term goal to work towards if they want the Flame Trooper. Commander's quest can be exactly the same as the one laid out by Chris in his video. with the fourth and final challenge being to beat Tower Battle's normal mode with a preset loadout including Commander. Flame Trooper's quest would involve beating the 4 Halloween chapters on Nightmare mode with preset loadouts. Finally, all modes should reward more XP overall, and when getting medals, your XP should also be increased by 80%, not just your gold. I don't know why only gold is increased by the medals. It should be XP as well. That would really help out players getting XP early on. Now, with all that small stuff out of the way, let's transition into the mode reworks, starting with Easy. Easy Mode's rework isn't going to be a full-on remaster, as I think Easy Mode's overall theme of just being normal zombies is totally fine, as it shows that this world is still overrun by normal undead since the Void. This rework concept only adds one new enemy and a mini-boss, as well as introducing some existing enemies. The biggest change is that Easy Mode will be introducing the concept of tower death, but it will be extremely minimal, but enough to where a new player will realize that this game isn't your average tower defense affair. There would also be 25 waves and a reward of 400 gold and 2.5k XP on completion. The new enemy, the Unstable Zombie, will have the ability to explode on death, damaging towers that are placed too close to the track slightly. This is to encourage better placement of your units when the time comes, as I've seen so many people place the Rangers in the most stupid places possible. Next is the new mini-boss, the Resurrected Commander, who appears on Wave 20. He has 2 abilities, both of which I feel like will spice up Easy Mode significantly for new players, making it a lot more memorable. Finally, I gave the Plague Doctor some changes, making some of his attacks actually do damage, but giving him less HP overall. I think that would make him a fitting and memorable boss for the Easy Mode of TDX. There are more changes than what I have listed here, but I'll save those for the Google document that will be in the pinned comment and description of this video if you just want to see more information. One thing that I'll quickly bring up though is the change to some of the wave dialogue, adding a bit of lore when necessary to make this a more natural experience. Now let's move to the Intermediate Mode rework, which I believe needs a much more substantial overhaul. In order to give Intermediate Mode a more defined theme, I thought it would be cool if Intermediate's enemies, or at least most of them, were entirely robotic, similar to the ones seen in the tutorial mode. This mode would also be 30 waves long, introducing 11 new enemies, 1 new mini-boss, some returning enemies, and a rework to Eradicator Mark 1. This mode would award 1,025 gold and 7,850 XP on completion. The enemies would include the following: the Robotic Speed, Robustic, Frequency, which would have the ability to speed up enemies around it, Robotic Boss 1, with the ability to gain some shield HP every so often, Radio Wave, with the ability to stealth nearby enemies, Prototype Carrier, with the ability to spawn prototypes on death, Technomancer, with the ability to summon robotic pods that hatch into enemies if left unattended, Transmitter, with the ability to emit jamming shockwaves and teleport if left unattended, Saboteur, a Predator variant with the ability to punch nearby towers and units, as well as the ability to go faster the longer they are left alive. And finally, Disruptor, a powerful mini-boss on Wave 25 with abilities that test your skills early on. Eradicator would also be reworked, having a much more impactful Phase 2 in order to mimic how Mark II Plus works, albeit obviously toned down for beginners. If you want more information, a document containing everything I have made regarding the Intermediate Mode rework is linked below. Happy reading. The Intermediate Mode rework also contains a bit more lore than before, as I think it is important to introduce some concepts like Dr. Xenon betraying the GDA, as well as being an example as how her robotics have progressed since the tutorial mode. Overall, I think these mode reworks absolutely should happen at some point after Nightmare mode. I don't think that they should take priority over Nightmare. I actually think that it's more important that we get Nightmare before these things, but I think after Nightmare, John and the TDX team need to assess and assemble and improve the early game experience one final time. Because, think about it, if they incorporate the changes I and many others have been asking for on top of what already exists in the game for new players, like medals, quests, and replayable events with presets, then TDX suddenly goes from having one of the most worst and confusing new player experiences to suddenly having without a doubt the best. So many options, so much story to go through, so much side content to explore. It's what would make TDX amazing, and a whole lot more replayable for people who just get into it. But like I said, Nightmare Mode is more important. Most TDX players are at or around level 100, and we need a new challenge for endgame players, and a way to advance the story and lore forward. I am in no way saying that mode reworks are more important than Nightmare Mode, and I disagree with anyone who says that they are. I am saying that after, this is where the TDX developers' focus should lie. But yeah, this is all I've got for this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.
Decepticon intruders!
Into the tunnel, Decepticons, and try not to get crushed by the trains.
You're joking, right?
Yes, Breakdown. I am famous for my sparkling sense of humor. Now get moving before I dismantle you myself!